In 1988, my husband's first love's house was demolished. She received 8 million yuan in compensation. When I heard the news, I was envious and blamed myself for being slow. The landlord clearly said that I was the only one who went to see the house, but my first love bought it before me. My husband sneered, "Don't be jealous, that's Sherlon's luck. The house was demolished after she bought it. It may not be the same for you." Later, I worked hard for my husband's family all my life. And my first love came to see me before I died. Seeing me lying in a cramped and damp little house, she stared in disbelief. She suddenly held my hand and burst into tears of gratitude. "You have such a hard life, but you still helped me find a house and let your mother take out her pension to buy a house for me in full. Thank you so much." I was so angry that I vomited blood and died on the spot. No wonder the house was bought suddenly. No wonder my mother retired as a professor, but can only make a living by picking up garbage. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the time when I bought the house. After signing the deposit contract, I came out of the housing authority, holding the railing, feeling relieved. In a month, the property certificate will be issued. In this life, this house must be mine. At this time in my previous life, I ran around, asked around, and looked at many houses. Finally, I decided to choose one between the two houses. At the dinner table, I told my husband Huoliye the specific situation and price of the two houses and asked him to help consult. Before I finished listening to the situation of room 1, Huoliye waved his hand perfunctorily and told me to buy it at will, saying that it didn't matter where I lived. I stubbornly refused to stop, and when I said that room 2 was on West Street in Chengbai district, he looked up in surprise and confirmed the address with me. Then he ordered me to buy room 1 without hesitation, took his coat and hurried out. I thought about it all night and decided to go and see the two houses in person before making the final decision, but the next day, the landlord told me that room 2 had been sold. I was disappointed, so I could only buy room 1. Not long after, room 2 was demolished, and its value doubled from 8,000 yuan to 8 million yuan. The owner of the house was my husband's first love. She was also the white moonlight that he could not forget for a long time, Zhang Sherlon. She became a well-known rich person in our city and lived a carefree life. Every day she sang and danced, and the nanny was responsible for the children and housework, and I not only had to serve the difficult parents-in-law, but also had to take care of Huoliye's food, clothing, housing, and transportation. I was overwhelmed by the heavy housework, and I couldn't help but envy Zhang Sherlon's good luck and resent myself for being a step behind. At that time, the landlord clearly said that I was the only one to see the house, so I was so relaxed and didn't pay a deposit. I never expected that the house would be sold after just one night. Huoliye heard my sigh and rolled his eyes at me unhappily. "Don't be jealous. It's Sherlon's luck that she bought it and it was demolished. If it were you, you might not demolish it. Don't you know how bad your bad luck is?" I was speechless. After that, Huoliye and I had less and less to say, and he became less and less willing to go home. Every time he said he was busy with work, he left the whole family to me to take care of. I was busy all the time. Either my parents-in-law called me or the children needed me. Finally, she became ill due to overwork and fell ill at the age of 50. Before she died, Zhang Sherlon came to see me with a fruit basket. She wore a wool coat with a great drape, and her black curly hair was tied into a loose and full bun. She was obviously in her 50s, but she looked like a woman in her early 30s, elegant and beautiful. Seeing me lying in a cramped, dim and damp room, she was scared and surprised. Then she held my hand eagerly and sincerely, and burst into tears of gratitude. Man, you are so great. Thank you for helping me find a house and letting your mother take out all her pension to buy a house for me in full." She was so excited that she was incoherent, saying that she didn't know I lived in such a simple house and helped her so generously, and she didn't know how to thank me. Finally, she leaned on Huoliye's arms and cried delicately, Man is like this, but I am taking 8 million demolition compensation. I really feel guilty. I just knew it." It turned out that Huoliye had long known the inside information that the area where house No. 2 was located was going to be demolished, and he was struggling to find a house. He was ecstatic to learn from me that house No. 2 was going to be sold. I immediately went to my mother's house, swindled all my mother's pension, and hurriedly took Zhang Sherlon to buy a house. He specifically asked my mother not to tell me about the pension, saying that I was thin-skinned and would feel uncomfortable if I told it, so my mother kept it from me. No wonder my mother, who is a university professor, can only make a living by picking up garbage after retirement. I was lying on the shabby and corrupt wooden bed, and I was so angry that I vomited blood on the spot. and angrily questioned Hualiya. He said lightly and nonchalantly, "You can endure hardships, but Sherlan is different from you. Now, you are going to die, why do you still care about this?" In the end, I was angry to death, my soul was floating in the air, and I saw that Hualiya moved to live with Zhang Sherlan just after I died. Their life was harmonious and sweet, which made people envy. It turned out that Hualiya didn't go home for these years, and he took care of Zhang Sherlan in her big villa. He married me so that I could take care of the difficult in-laws and deal with the poor relatives from the countryside. He felt sorry for Zhang Sherlan and couldn't bear her to worry about these trivial matters. Calculating the time, at this time, my mother's pension had been defrauded by Hualiya. I must go back to get my mother's pension back. When I opened the door, I heard a sound from inside, and I subconsciously stepped lightly. It's all Cheng Man's fault. She clearly told me that the house was not sold. Don't worry, I'll find you another house in that area. While talking, Hualiya put the shrimp he had peeled into Zhang Sherlan's bowl. "Liya, you are so nice to me. You actually told me such important news that Changbai district is going to be demolished. Don't worry, I will also take time to look for a house there in the next few days." Zhang Sherlan looked up and met my eyes unexpectedly. "Hey, man, you're back." She dodged her eyes, clenched her chopsticks uncomfortably, and didn't even pick up the food. Hualiya patted her shoulder and smiled at me gently. "Come and eat. I specially made your favorite braised shrimp today." But I didn't miss the disgust hidden in his eyes. Seeing that I looked normal, Zhang Sherlan felt relieved and invited me to dinner like a hostess, praising Hualiya's cooking skills and saying that I was so lucky. Hualiya walked behind me, massaging my shoulders while trying to find out if the sale of the house had anything to do with me. "Oh, did you take Zhang Sherlan there and then find out that you were late?" Thinking of this, I was just glad that I was reborn at the right time. "Which one? Room 2. I pretended to be stupid. Just sell it." "Didn't you say that the house is meaningless?" Hualiya's face turned cold, and I continued to stab him in the heart. "You are such a weird person. That's someone else's house. They can sell it if they want to. Why are you so mean to me? Is there any secret about the house?" Hualiya immediately shut up. My heart became even colder. All these years of hard work, I fed a beast that is worse than pigs and dogs. House No. 2 was sold, and he wanted to find a house in that area for Zhang Sherlan. But he was reluctant to tell me the truth, worried that I would also look for it and become competitive with Zhang Sherlan. I was so blind that I married such a bad man. After dinner, Hualiya entered the room, took out a stack of money, and forced it into Zhang Sherlan's hand. That was all the money he had saved recently. Zhang Sherlan looked at me uneasily and explained carefully, Man, don't be angry. This money is borrowed. I will pay it back." It seems uneasy, but it is actually provocative. "But there are always people who are blind." Hualiya immediately felt distressed. "What do you mean by borrowing or not? When I was on the verge of death in the hospital, you paid for my medical expenses without hesitation, and I haven't repaid you yet." I shrugged indifferently. "Borrow it. But remember to save some for mother-in-law's hospitalization and hiring a nanny." Hualiya finally couldn't help it, and angrily accused me. "What do you mean? Don't you have money there, if you marry me? My mother is your mother. Don't you even pay for her hospitalization and don't want to take care of her? Is there a daughter-in-law like you?" Zhang Sherlan nodded like a chick beside her, very obedient. "If it were me, I would be willing to give all my salary to my mother-in-law and take care of her at home." Hualiya's eyes flashed with pity, but turned into hatred when he looked at me. "Look at Sherlan, then look at you. You are such a ruthless person. Then let's get a divorce and you marry her." Hualiya's opposition was particularly decisive. "How can this be possible? Why not?" I asked back. He didn't say anything. Zhang Sherlan was very disappointed, and forced a smile to smooth things over. Man, don't joke. Saying such things hurts Liya. You two are husband and wife. Tisk, it's really true love. Isn't it just because he feels sorry for Zhang Sherlan and doesn't want her to come to the Hua family to be tortured by her parents-in-law and relatives? Who is kidding you? Mother-in-law will be discharged from the hospital tomorrow. You borrowed the money and have no money to hire a nanny. Then why don't you take care of mother-in-law for a few days? You are meticulous, and you must be able to take care of mother-in-law." Hualiya firmly opposed. "Where is your salary? Isn't it enough to hire a nanny? Sherlan is my friend, not your slave." "My salary." I was so angry that I laughed. Hualiya said it himself that year. "We each keep our own money." Later, when I wanted to buy a house, I had to ask him many times before he was willing to give me some money to save every month. How come his money can be used to accompany Zhang Sherlan, but my money should be used to subsidize the Hua family? You also said that it was my salary. And you are the biological son of my mother-in-law, you don't have money to take care of her, let alone me, you. Yu breathed rapidly, pointing at me for a long time without saying a word. Suddenly, his eyes flashed, and he calmed down. After being married for many years, I knew what he was thinking. It's just my mother's pension. He doesn't really think there is a free lunch in the world, right? The next day, I got home from get off work. My mother-in-law had been discharged from the hospital, and Zhang Shirlan was diligently bringing her water to feed her medicine. My mother-in-law took a sip and immediately vomited. It's hot, hot, hot. Do you want to scald me to death? Zhang Shirlan quickly added boiled water to the cup, handed it to her respectfully again, and then went to get a mop to mop the floor. Before she put down the mop, she was ordered to cook again. During the meal, the mother-in-law took a bite and burst into tears because of the spiciness. When she stood up, she accidentally pulled the wound and cried out. She pointed at Zhang Shirlan's face and cursed, "Are you here to defeat me?" Zhang Shirlan stood at the table at a loss, crying, pitiful. Coincidentally, Huoliya came back at this time. After hearing the whole story, he blamed the mother-in-law for deliberately making trouble. I curled the corners of my lips sarcastically. In the past, when I had conflicts with my mother-in-law, he always sided with her unconditionally. Only one sentence, "It's not easy for my mother to raise me." My mother-in-law was so shocked that her pupils shrank, and the alarm bells in her heart rang loudly. I want Chang Man to serve me. This witch will never enter the Hua family. I know what my mother-in-law thinks. Anyone who can make Huoliya refute her is her enemy, and she can't stand Huoliya doting on any woman except her. However, she didn't treat Zhang Shirlan like this in her previous life. At that time, she kept saying to me more than once that Zhang Shirlan was smart and beautiful, and she wanted her to be her daughter-in-law. After the mother-in-law saw that Huoliya didn't respond, she was so anxious that she didn't even care about eating. "Son, you can't be blinded by this vixen. She looks so unruly. Who knows how many men she has hooked up with outside." "Mom, that's enough. Huoliya doesn't allow anyone to insult Zhang Shirlan, his first love and white moonlight. Shirlan is not related to you, but she is willing to take care of you. You don't remember her kindness, but beat and scold her." He pressed his eyebrows impatiently. "Chang Man is your daughter-in-law. Do you think she is willing to take care of you?" "Huoliya, I am still here. You slander me like this." I sighed. "Mother-in-law, it's not that I don't want to take care of you. Didn't Leah hire Shirlan as a nanny, 80 yuan a month, which is higher than the salary of a formal worker?" "What?" Mother-in-law exploded when she heard it. 80 yuan, hire her. She immediately slapped Zhang Shirlan in the face. "What kind of magic potion did you give my son?" The three of them fought in a ball, and the dining table was overturned. After watching the dog-eat-dog fight, I put on my bag and went out happily to have a big meal. After that day, Huoliya went to find a house for Zhang Shirlan whenever he was free. I wanted to give her a demolished house to give her confidence so that people would not dare to bully her. This was much more positive than when I mentioned buying a house. He just said, "Whatever you want." At that time, unlike now, he does everything himself. Half a month later, after get off work at the textile factory, I was stopped by Huoliya. As soon as I walked out the door, he suddenly came forward and hugged me, and his warm breath hit my neck. Man, I know you bought room 2. I'll ask the master to calculate. You bought room 2 to harm me. Only if you give it to Shirlan will it bring prosperity to me. You should go to the real estate bureau and transfer the house to Shirlan." When he let me go, his eyes were affectionate. "You don't want me to die, right? I prefer room 1. It's close to the school. When we have children in the future, it will be more convenient to pick them up." Huoliya said it as a matter of course, without a trace of guilt. He has always been very clear about how much I love him. In the past, as long as he said something, I would definitely not refuse. What's more, this also involves his life safety. He is absolutely sure, Huoliya said, looking up at me. His eyes gradually sharpened. For the past half-month, he has been running around looking for a house in the West Street area of Chongbai district. The housing supply there is already in short supply, and after the news of demolition came out from inside, a large number of buyers poured in. He searched for more than half a month, but he didn't find a single house. It happened that today I met the landlord of room 2 that Cheng Man mentioned before. When I asked him about the house, his wedding photo with Cheng Man fell out of his wallet and was seen by the landlord. The landlord was very surprised at the time, and said bluntly, "Didn't Cheng Man already buy his house? Why is he buying a house in this area now?" Huoliya was furious when he heard it. Chang Man cheated him, this bitch, how dare she cheat him? Chang Man never cheated him before. I didn't expect that after working for a few years and having some money, her wings have become hardened. No, I've also consulted a master, and that house is the most auspicious for me. If you're afraid of death, why don't we just get a divorce? Huolie's face darkened, and his voice was as cold as ice. Divorce? Don't even think about it. After a moment, his face relaxed. What I mean is, I love you and can't live without you. We were both silent. I was so disgusted by his words that I didn't want to talk anymore. On the way back, Huolie was in a daze. He should be thinking about how to get me to hand over the house so that he can give it to Zhang Shirlan to please her. But his plan was doomed to fail. When the landlord was about to move out, the news that the house was going to be demolished spread. It was much earlier than in the previous life, luckily. The landlord was reasonable and sighed that I was lucky and didn't ask for a share of the relocation money. Thinking that I was about to have a huge sum of money, my heart was jumping up and down, and I felt that the flowers and plants on the road were particularly cute. Passing by the supply and marketing cooperative, I went in and bought a box of peach cakes to celebrate. I walked out for only 2 steps and suddenly saw Zhang Shirlan crying behind a willow tree on the roadside. And Huolie was wiping her tears with distressed eyes. Wow, Leah, the demolition payment of 8 million should be mine. Why does Chang Man always rob me? She robbed you before, causing us to love each other but not be together, and now she robbed the demolition payment that should belong to me. She cried until she was hoarse, buried her head in Huolie's arms, and circled his lower back with her hands. Leah, only you can help me. You know, I am weak and can't do heavy work. Those people always bully me and I have no one to rely on. If I don't have you, I might as well die. As she said this, she stood up from Huolie's arms and rushed straight to the lake next to her. What are you doing? What will I do if you die? Huolie grabbed Zhang Shirlan's hand tightly and growled in fear. He lifted Zhang Shirlan's chin and he kissed her hard. Zhang Shirlan's body stiffened, and then she hugged him back excitedly. The two kissed passionately by the lake. Like a couple in love. After a while, Zhang Shirlan sat on Huolie's thigh with a blushing face. Huolie caressed her white and smooth face lovingly, and promised to give her 4 million yuan when the demolition money came, so that she could live the rest of her life in peace without having to look at anyone's face. Zhang Shirlan tried to suppress her joy, lowered her eyes and pretended to be worried. Will Chang Man agree? Will she be sad? I don't want to destroy your relationship as husband and wife. You also said that she and I are husband and wife, and I have half of the demolition money. When the time comes, this half will be given to you. Whether she agrees or not will not change anything. Zhang Shirlan pounded Huolie's chest in admiration. Leah, thank you. You are a real man. I love you. Listening to their plan, I was so sick that I couldn't even eat peach cakes. Oh, when the loan is released, they must not cry out loud. Let's go, sign. Huolie urged me early in the morning. I yawned lazily. What to sign? Are you sleepy? Go to the demolition office to sign today, and you can get the demolition money after that. I looked at him strangely. Are our houses demolished? Huolie tied his tie by himself. Don't play dumb. Changbai District West Street is demolished. You bought a house there before. Get up quickly. Are you sleepy? That's my mother's house. At this moment, I once again sighed at my foresight. If the house falls under my name, shouldn't I give him half of the demolition money? Does he deserve it? Bah. Huolie was stunned and stupid. What did you say? The house was bought by my mother-in-law, and she paid for it. Yes. Are you crazy? We used our joint savings to buy the house, so why should it be in her name? He dragged me to my mother's house. Go change the name on the property certificate now. My mother-in-law is really something. She is not young anymore, but she doesn't know anything. She only knows how to cause trouble for us young people. Huolie was very impatient. I shook his hand off. That was the house my mother paid for. If it's not in her name, then your name. Give it back to me to buy a house. How can I afford it? We saved a total of 8,000 yuan for the house. Don't think I don't know that room 2 is exactly 8,000 yuan. I threw the IOU he wrote to my mother in his face. You took money from my mother, so I have to pay it back. What's the matter? My mother has to make money for our family too. My mother is a retired university professor. She receives the highest level of pension, 108 yuan a month, and has more than 8,000 yuan in savings. Huolie asked for a lot of money and took 8,000 yuan from her, leaving her only 100 or 200 yuan in change. Now, I returned the money we saved together to buy a house to my mother, and it just matched. By the way, the 8,000 yuan we saved, half for each of us. I stretched out my hand. You have to give me 4,000 yuan. Willie was furious and pushed me away violently. I hit the head of the bed, and blood flowed down my cheek. I raised my hand and touched the blood, and I smiled. Now it's easier. I won't be named Shang if I don't let Willie and Zhang Shirlan, the couple, live on the streets. Just wait, you will regret it if you plot against me. Willie slammed the door and walked out. I'm not sure whether I will regret it later, but Willie will definitely regret it, with blood all over my face. I cried all the way to the steel plant where Willie was. I went straight to the director's office. Director, I feel wronged. I take care of my parents-in-law, wash clothes, and cook at home. But Willie is having an improper relationship with a man and a woman outside. When he comes home, he pushes my head against the wall. Director, you are the most fair, you have to make the decision for me. The director tried to suppress the corners of his mouth that were raised, and asked me about my well-being. He asked his assistant to get me medicine and bandages, and to help me add clothes. His nephew and Willie competed for the position of purchasing manager 2 days ago. His nephew fell asleep at work and was recorded. He thought there was no hope. Unexpectedly, there was a ray of hope after a dark cloud. This time, I was like a pillow sent to me when I was sleepy. 20 minutes later, the assistant told the director that Willie did not come to work today. The director angrily slammed the table. Okay, I will be absent from work if I don't ask for leave. The assistant shook his head slightly. He didn't understand why Willie was confused at this time. The position of purchasing manager is very lucrative. Once you get the position, money will rush into your pocket. I talked with the factory director for a full hour. Both sides were very satisfied and got what they wanted. I helped his nephew get the job, and he helped me get back the 4,000 yuan that Willie owed me. The negotiation was over, and when I was about to leave, Willie arrived. He looked at me with unprecedented coldness, even full of hatred. Willie pulled me over fiercely, smiling. Factory director, my wife's words are not counted. She just had a small conflict with me, and she was so angry that she threw dirty water on me without caring. The factory director shook his head at him disappointedly. Whatever the facts are, I am free to judge. Xiaohua. Comrade Chang also went to college and is an excellent team for building society. You shouldn't belittle her like this. The factory director asked his assistant to escort me home, but as soon as we left the steel plant, we were stopped by a handsome stranger. Comrade Chung Man, right? Your mother asked me to wait for you here. I was confused. Who is this? The man called himself Li Duchuan. The bodyguard I hired for my mother before was his brother, but something happened at his brother's home, so he was asked to replace him. The more I looked at him, the more I felt something was wrong. Li Duchuan's temperament was not related to a bodyguard at all. Even the director of the steel plant did not have such a majestic temperament as him. For safety reasons, the assistant went back with me. When I got home, I confirmed with my mother that Li Duchuan was indeed a bodyguard. Before I left with peace of mind, my mother pulled me into the house. If it weren't for Shaoli today, Willie's fist would have hit my face, and he wanted to force me to leave. I took a deep breath in fear. Fortunately, I had foreseen Willie's bad nature early. After marrying him, my mother helped the Hua family with money and effort. When Hua's mother had a rare disease before, it was also my mother who ran around and asked for help to find experts. As a result, he did not hesitate to attack my mother for Zhang Shirlan, under the protection of Li Duchuan. My mother and I took our household registration and ID cards to the demolition office to sign, and then went to the bank to submit the information. The demolition payment arrived quickly. Half a month later, the factory director's nephew had already taken office as the purchasing manager of the steel plant. Willie not only did not get promoted, but was also demoted from workshop director to a small worker because of his work style, but he never responded. Even with the protection of Li Duchuan, my heart was still in my throat every day. Not making a fuss means that Willie is planning a bigger conspiracy. This conspiracy must be very complicated to make him hold his breath for so long. I went downstairs to throw away the garbage. A car suddenly lost control and hit me. I was pulled hard by someone, and when I was about to look back to see who it was, I felt a pain in the back of my neck and then lost all consciousness. When I woke up again, the stench was overwhelming. I opened my eyes with difficulty, supporting myself on the ground with my hands, which were damp and dirty. And I could still hear the squeaking of mice. I am most afraid of mice. I would jump up when I see one on weekdays, but now my hands and feet are tied, and I can only watch the mouse jump onto my thigh with a help. Are you scared? If you are scared, ask your mother to give us the demolition money. Otherwise your delicate skin and tender flesh will be fed to mice. My body was shaking uncontrollably, and I moved my eyes away and didn't look at the mice. I bit my tongue again, trying to stay calm. Did Juliet invite you here? How much money did he give you to do such a dangerous thing? No one invited me. If you want to blame someone, blame you and your mother for being too ostentatious. It's not enough that you didn't keep a low profile after receiving the huge demolition money, but you also caused trouble everywhere. Hearing this, I was more certain that Juliet was the one who did it. How much money Juliet gave you? I'll pay double. The kidnapper kicked me hard in the stomach. Shut up, I said it wasn't him. You don't want to drink the wine, right? I was sweating profusely from the pain, curled up on the ground, unable to speak. He seemed to be broken, grabbed my hair again, and slapped me twice. Bitch, you don't understand what people say, right? Hurry up, call your mother to transfer the money. The kidnapper put the mobile phone close to my mouth. My face was burning with pain, but my heart was at ease. The kidnapper was so anxious. Which meant that my mother and the demolition money were safe. Li Duchuan is a competent bodyguard, and the money is worth it. Beep, beep, beep. Hello, Mom, it's me. I want to eat Christian carp tonight. Give me the tail. It's delicious to eat a bite. The kidnapper growled in a low voice. Let's talk business. Mom, save me. You deposit all the demolition money into 6226, this bank card. The kidnapper hung up the phone neatly. You're smart, don't worry. I'll let you go when the money arrives. Snap, with a light sound. I opened my eyes, always alert. A finger appeared in the only bright place and swung to the right. I used all my strength to move to the right clumsily, but the kidnapper woke up. He grabbed my shoulder, dragged me back, and put the gun to my temple. Come out. Are you here to save Chungman? Believe it or not, I'll shoot her. My temple was rubbed so hard by the muzzle of the gun that it must have broken the skin. The kidnapper's hands kept shaking. I held my breath and didn't dare to make a sound. I was afraid of scaring the kidnapper, who was like a frightened bird. If he accidentally fired the gun, my life would really be over in this damp little dark room. Ah, it hurts. The kidnapper screamed and squatted down to cover the hand that just held the gun. The gun fell to the ground. I kicked the gun away. The police broke into the room, and the leader was Li Duchuan. The one who just fired the gun was also him, the bodyguard I found from the agency for 40 yuan. Not only can shoot, but also has such accurate shooting skills. Li Duchuan ran to my side, untied me neatly, and tore off the tape on my mouth. You have suffered. He was full of seriousness, and his tone seemed to reveal heartache. I shook my dizzy head. I was stunned by the kidnapper, right? The bodyguard I paid for felt sorry for me. Just kidding, we are just hired, okay? The kidnapper was pinned to the ground, shouting in disbelief. How did you find the place? I clearly didn't tell you. Li Duchuan looked at him with pity. Because of that phone call? No, impossible. I kept staring at Changman. She didn't tell me the address at all. But I told my mother that I wanted to eat Christian carp, especially the tail. My mother knows me. I won't talk nonsense at this critical moment. After some analysis with Li Duchuan, she guessed that I was in the east of the unfinished building in the south of the city. Because I once complained to my mother that this unfinished building from west to east looked like a Christian carp. It just matched what I said on the phone. Christian carp, tail, 1 bite, unfinished building, east, first floor. Thanks to the kidnapper for not blocking the window, I could see the supply and marketing building opposite in the distance. Otherwise, I would not be sure where I was. The kidnapper rushed over and tried to bite me, but he missed and was punched by Li Duchuan. Several teeth fell out and the wounds bled more fiercely. He couldn't accept it and cried. I shouldn't have let you say extra words. You are just like what my cousin said. You are scheming, Pa. The kidnapper was slapped on the head. Are you crazy? You dare to kidnap your cousin's wife and push me down? I don't have a scum cousin like you. It was Hualia. He came in at some point and was looking at the kidnapper with a look of disappointment. He wanted to continue beating him, but was stopped by the police because the kidnapper had a gunshot wound. Hualia snorted coldly. Since you are injured, I will spare you this time. If you dare to kidnap people like the gangsters next time, I will break your dog legs. After saying the harsh words, he squatted down with an apologetic look and wanted to hug me. Man, I'm sorry, I'm late. His hand was blocked by Li Duchuan. Are you late? You have been waiting outside all the time. Your legs must be numb, right? Li Duchuan sneered. Walia was furious. What nonsense are you talking about? Man is my wife. She is injured. I am most worried. Who are you? Who asked you to touch my wife? Seeing him say such words with this face, I just felt sick. And I even vomited directly. Walia's eyes lit up, and his breathing became rapid. Man, are you pregnant? As long as there is a child, he has the final say on how to spend the demolition money. Walia was ecstatic and clenched his fists excitedly. I'm going to be a father, right? I vomited even more, even vomiting stomach acid. Walia grabbed my hand and wanted to go out. Let's go to the hospital for a checkup. Bang, Walia was punched into a black eye. She vomited because she was disgusted with you, not because she was pregnant. You schemed against her so much, and you still want her to be pregnant? Li Duchuan pointed outside. It's not even dark yet, and you're already dreaming. You're dreaming so beautifully. Aren't you afraid that you won't be able to bear it? Huoliye felt like he was falling into an ice cave. No, how could it be disgusting to me? It should be morning sickness. Li Duchuan hugged me and walked out. Huoliye caught up with me, and fought with Li Duchuan unyieldingly, and was pinned to the ground by the police. You are suspected of murdering a citizen. Go to the police station to make a statement. The fact that I was kidnapped after receiving the demolition payment was a big deal. Anyone who has received demolition compensation or whose family is relatively wealthy in this city should report to the police station. This cancer that threatens people's property and personal safety should be severely punished. With so many people reporting together, I thought that Huoliya, the planner, should not have a good ending, but unexpectedly, he was acquitted. How could this happen? Li Duchuan came back after checking the news. The kidnapper died last night. Before he died, he said that he kidnapped you alone and was not instructed by anyone. I was so angry. It must be Huoliya who was interfering. Just let him go. No, absolutely not. I'm not willing. If I let him go like this, what do I plan to do when I get kicked in the unfinished building? What does it mean that my mother was so anxious at home that she almost had a heart attack? What does it mean that Li Duchuan was forced to reveal his military position? That's right, Li Duchuan is a soldier, and a regiment commander. He came back to visit his family during this vacation, and it happened that a friend took over the job of my bodyguard. But he couldn't do it because of something temporarily, so he asked him for help. By some strange coincidence, he became my bodyguard. Originally, he just wanted to spend the holiday peacefully, but he didn't expect Huoliye to kidnap me and get a gun privately. Anyway, Huoliye must not be allowed to escape punishment so easily. Unfortunately, the kidnapper died and there was no evidence, so the police had to release Huoliye. Liya, fortunately you are fine. Zhang Shirlan hugged Huoliye and cried. What should I do if something happened to you? Your cousin is so useless. You have planned everything, but it can still be ruined by his pig brain. It's really hateful. Huoliye gently stroked Zhang Shirlan's soft black hair. Don't be afraid. I have other ways. And I won't let you suffer. What way? Zhang Shirlan's eyes were full of expectations. Don't the old woman and Chang Man want to hand over the demolition money? What if they are all dead? Isn't the inheritance mine? Huoliye smiled, but his tone was gloomy. Chang Man caused him to lose so much, and forced him to force his cousin to commit suicide. Thinking of this, Huoliye closed his eyes painfully. There were conditions for his cousin to commit suicide. That was to let him marry his cousin's family after getting 8 million yuan in demolition compensation and marry his drooling idiot sister. There were many children in his cousin's family, 5 boys and 1 girl, and his cousin was the least capable. After the kidnapping incident, his cousin was too ashamed to go back. If he went back, there was only one possibility: being scolded by his parents, disliked by his brothers, and finally being kicked out of the house, so he chose to die. Use death to fight for the interests of his sister and family who once gave him warmth. Even if his parents and brothers don't love him, he loves them. Huoliye opened his eyes. How could he marry a fool? This was all Chang Man forcing him. He only wanted money before. It was her who forced him to kill her and her mother. Huoliye specially found a simple nurse, wearing a mask and scarf, and handed her a bouquet of violets in a muffled voice. Please send it to Chang Man in Ward 302. If she asks who sent it, just say it was a big-bellied man in his 60s and I am his friend. He stuffed 2 yuan into the nurse as a reward and left in a hurry. The nurse didn't think much about it. It was just helping to deliver a bouquet of flowers, nothing to do. So she took the flowers into 302. Who sent it? The nurse answered truthfully. Could it be the factory director? Then why didn't he come up? Did he just pass by and have other things to do? I muttered to myself and tore off the plastic wrapping on the flowers. The violets were in full bloom, but the color was too bright, which added a bit of weirdness. I leaned in to smell the fragrance of the flowers, and my eyes suddenly went dark. Sitting on the bed, I was about to lament that my physical condition was too poor, but I saw Li Duchuan staring at the flowers. He sniffed it and stepped back suddenly, almost falling. There's something wrong with this flower. Before he could say anything more, the pregnant woman who had just touched the flower suddenly fainted and was taken to the emergency room in critical condition. The old lady in the next bed even had difficulty breathing on the spot and died soon after. Li Duchuan wrapped the flowers in a plastic bag, kicked them into the bathroom, and quickly carried me out of the ward and notified the police to deal with this strange bouquet of flowers, according to the police's identification. The bouquet of violets contained the highly poisonous flower belladonna. The person who sent the flowers also added other poisons, which greatly increased the toxicity of belladonna. A healthy person will be poisoned and die if he smells it for one night. The pregnant woman who had just given birth and the elderly grandmother had low immunity and lost their lives because of this bouquet of poisonous flowers. The pregnant woman was so young, had a handsome husband, lovely children, and a solid family background, but she died suddenly at the best stage of her life. The old lady's family members also cried. Her daughter cooked chicken soup for her, but she didn't drink a single sip, and she didn't even see her daughter for the last time. My legs went weak, and I barely managed to avoid collapsing on the ground by leaning on Li Duchuan. It's Huoliye, it must be him. Huoliye was arrested. This time the evidence was conclusive, and no one took the blame for him. The poison bouquet he sent had a really bad impact, killing a pregnant woman and an old lady, and he was sentenced to death. I had previously filed a lawsuit in court to divorce Huoliye, and good news came at this time. When Huoliye saw me in the second trial court, he was furious and had no grace at all. He was also the white moonlight that he could not forget for a long time. Li is not actually because I have a hard life, it's because there are people around me who love me. I saved myself. My mother saved me. Li Duchuan also saved me. After the trial, the ex-mother-in-law still refused to believe that her excellent son would be sentenced to death. Man, I'll kneel down for you. Please spare Liya. She pulled Zhang Shirlan's scalp and pressed her to the ground. It's all her. She's the one who did the bad things behind Liya's back. You should blame her. Don't blame Liya. Zhang Shirlan is bad. But these things, every one of them was planned by Huoliye, killing 2 lives.
Oh no.
And your nephew, 3 lives. He deserves to go to hell to atone for his sins. Before the date of Huoliye's execution, Zhang Shirlan got married. She married the gangster that Huoliye once despised the most. I went to tell him the news. Huoliye couldn't accept that his pure first love betrayed him so much, and bit his tongue and committed suicide in prison that night. When the ex-mother-in-law heard the news of his death, she went crazy and called her son whenever she saw someone on the street. Zhang Shirlan is a delicate flower, and she needs a man to take good care of her. Huoliye and her were young and in love, and he was willing to protect her, but the hooligans would not. After tasting the taste, they would beat and scold her at will. When we met again later, she cried and asked me, "Are you satisfied? Are you laughing when you see me like this?" She looked crazy. If I had known this, I would not have encouraged Huoliye to plot against you. Tell me, how come you are so lucky? After saying this, she resolutely jumped into the turbulent river and disappeared in a blink of an eye. It was a bad omen. I really don't like Zhang Shirlan, but I only hate Huoliye, because Zhang Shirlan can't plot against me. It's Huoliye who loves her, my former bedmate, who keeps plotting against me. I've called the police. Li Duchuan put on my coat. Let's go. It's windy by the river. Let's go home. Li Duchuan's palms were warm, and he took my hand and left. I knew that I should start a new life.